Hey Ajay, hey Akash,
Hi, sir. Hi, everyone.
hey Kranti.
Hi, good evening, everyone. All right, so welcome to the 93rd College Learning Session. I'm thrilled to welcome you today to our special College Upskill session, which is the part 1 of our 2023 Wrapped series. And this one is UX interviews behind the scenes. Now, why is this session special? Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah, because we are going to celebrate the achievements that we have got throughout the year.
Yeah, exactly. As we wrap up the year, we are celebrating our community's success stories. Yes, Kranti, go ahead.
I mean, rarely you get to hear from learn from others to other person experience and on their journey actually. Unless uh, you initiate the conversation, rarely you get to witness this. Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah, true. And yeah, as I was saying that for those who are tuning in today on our YouTube live, whether you are an aspiring UX designer or an experienced one, or just simply curious about UX, in this session, you would hear directly from our community members, like Kranti said, who have cracked UX interviews and promotions this year in different ways. And they are going to share their first-hand insights and learnings with all of you so that it can help you grow in your career. So before we get into the main show, we would go to a poll. Now, the question is, what part of the UX job interview process do you find most challenging? I'm going to start the poll now. You can scan this QR code and you can put your answers in. Let's see. Rajiv will also share the link on YouTube for you to quickly get into the poll and put your answers in. Please join in and put your answers. The poll is live now. What part of the UX job interview process do you find most challenging? And the options are portfolio presentation, which is showcasing your work effectively. Then the option 2 is design tasks, which is completing a design task within a limited time. And the third option is behavioral questions, which is answering mindset and cultural alignment related questions. So let's see how many people are joining. Oh, okay. We have 50-50.
My sample size is only 2.
Come on, guys, let's join in. More people, please. All right, 6 people in. Oh, all right. Cool. We have a few answers. And it's interesting because I always thought, oh, we have more people answering in the portfolio presentation, still wins. Okay. All right. So I guess in my experience, Prasad, I would ask you your experience as well. When I was interviewing most of the designers back in the recruitment days at UX Reactor, I always felt that they always struggled because they're all mostly working professionals. They always struggled in completing the design task on time. So that was mostly challenging, what I felt. But I would like to know your thought as well.
No, I think what is interesting is just to get a job, it's probably getting the portfolio ready. But getting the salary and the package that you want, the toughest part is the behavioral part, the questions. So that is where the challenge is. So, if you do a decent enough portfolio, you'll get a job. But the question is, are you going to be happy with what you have and the role that you have? In fact, the way people will treat you when you join, all that kind of starts at the behavioral component. So I think this is a really great segue, because one of the things that a lot of people ask me is, how do I do my portfolio? And I've always wanted to do this where, all the people within this year who've gotten jobs, because every year, literally the way the interviews happen, the way the questions happen, change every year, literally. And this year, I'm very surprised because the type of interviews and the type of questions that are being asked are very, very mature. Right? It's almost like there is somebody sitting in the background who knows what design is, and they are coaching the questioners how to ask the questions correctly. Last year, a lot of the stuff I got was hit and miss. But this year it's changed. And I'm trying to figure out what changed. How is it changed? Because all of a sudden, you have like it's like a 180-degree opposite mindset that people are having. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to everybody that's kind of interviewed and had jobs. In today's session, we will talk about all the people that have had jobs, that have received new offers and stuff, regardless of whether they accepted it or not, what their experience was, right? What kind of questions did they ask? What kinds of tasks did you get? How did you, navigate all of that? That would be very interesting. The next session, we're going to talk from the mentor's perspective, because obviously a lot of people have received offers and have interviewed this year, but only a small subset of people are going to be talking today. So the next week, our mentors and the volunteers will be talking. And then they have a lot more, because they have talked with pretty much all the members. They're going to have a very different perspective at a larger perspective. So at a larger scale. So that's what we're going to talk about. So this week, first, before I start off, I really want to acknowledge and congratulate all the people that have received their job offers this year. And I think this is really important to acknowledge the successes and all the hard work that all of you have put in. So, Hoy, if you can share your screen. Okay. If we can go on to the next one. Yeah. So the first one that secured a job this year was Nirupama. She was part of the intensive program, and she became a UX manager at Wipro. And again, one of the things that I remember at Nirupama was she was struggling is like, before, when she joined, she would say like, is this what UX is? And over a period of time, she's kind of evolved and gotten to the point where she's in a role that she's really happy with. So that's really good for Nirupama. So the next person that got an offer was Kiran. He's with Mr. Cooper. He's again landed a job as a UX manager. So congratulations to Kiran. The next one is Supriya. So she is a design strategist with Robosoft Technologies. And again, it's not important about what brand people get jobs in. And again, it's not important what role people get jobs in. What is important is people are happy with what they have. Right? And I think that is what is my perspective. So I think, congratulations, Supriya. Good job done. We have Ishita, who joined Intuit and as a senior product designer this year. So this again, and what was interesting with Ishita was she, I believe, had 2 job offers. And again, this is something that gives me a lot of pride, because it's not just about having, getting one offer, but it's about having the choice. Do you join the company that you want to join? Are you excited about it? And I think that is something with Ishita. She had multiple offers at that point, and then she decided she wanted to go with Intuit. So that was really good. We also have, I believe, Apurva, right? Arushi is there. She joined Fountain. And again, Fountain are, folks who are my ex-students who've kind of driving the design team there. And then, Arushi joined, and so she was really excited. So that's great. And let's see who else. Lakshmikant got into Capgemini. Tanya, who's our newest addition, joined Lemon Yellow. And again, the stories, and I think these are just the people that we were able to pick up the phone and talk and say, hey, did you get a new job? And I suspect there's a lot more people here. But at the end of the day, the people that picked up the phone is what we're doing. So if we've missed you, please make sure that you send your information across. But yeah, this is, Tanya is the latest addition into the job winners group.
And Tanya
Let's
is
go to the
also
next.
our speaker, one of our speaker tonight.
All right, awesome. Let's go on to the next slide. And then Anita is here. Awesome. She got into Lollipop. So I think Anita had a little bit of a stressful moment while interviewing, but I think it all worked out and it was like fine. And again, what is interesting is Lollipop is one of, it is, a lot of people know of Lollipop within India and they aspire to get into Lollipop. And so this is also something, it's a big achievement, getting into Lollipop and getting into a role that you are excited about. So congratulations, Anita. So let's go to the next one.
Anita will also speak tonight. Next is
Yeah.
Apurva.
Apurva is here. She got into Banao. And this is interesting, is as far as portfolio builders, this year was interesting because one of the folks got their first job within, I think, 6 weeks of getting into the portfolio builder programs. Now, again, what I find interesting is for a lot of people, even Tanya is like, yeah, they asked me very basic questions. No. And I keep telling her, these questions are not basic. Most people don't understand them. The fact that you understand them already put you head and shoulders over everybody else. So Apurva basically, wrote a long note to, I believe it was Hoy, but we can always share it afterwards. But again, she had an experience and unfortunately she couldn't be here today to share how her interview process was. But yeah, we can share this process later. Let's go on to the next slide. And then this year's promotions are interesting. So we had Saddal got promoted at Wilo. Vikrant got promoted at Ulo Edutech. And Vikrant was one of the speakers a couple of weeks ago. And then let's go on to the next one. Subhashmita got promoted as a senior design researcher at UX Reactor. And then Prasad got promoted as a lead designer at Lollipop. So again, these are just super exciting pieces of news, just seeing how well all of us are moving forward. So let's go on to the next one. Oh, okay, here's the note. And this is something that we will get back to, but what Shiva wanted to share was the things that helped him move fast in his career, right? And we will put this up later, so for you guys to read as well. But these are things that we want all of you to kind of pick up as well as we go through all of our sessions. So let's go on to the next slide. We had Divyanshu got promoted as a senior interaction designer at UX Reactor. We had Shivangi got promoted as a senior product designer at Pega. So Achyuth got promoted as a full-time role, and then again I think got double promoted. I think if I'm not mistaken, in terms of title. So congratulations, Achyuth. And finally we have Cranti, who basically got a job and got promoted at the same time this year, I believe. Cranti, am I right? Or am I exaggerating?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It happened with that same opportunity. Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations, Kranti.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So with that said, now what I want to talk about is, I really want to just generally talk about how your interview experience has been, right? So what was the process that you guys faced when you were interviewing? What questions did people ask? And, how satisfied were you with your portfolio? Anything I think my question would be probably related to anything relating to your getting your job and getting promoted. So with that, I probably want to ask Anita. Anita, how was your experience um, with the interview?
I had a different experience in different companies, and overall it was good. So I was referred in three companies. So in one of the company, I had the first round with the senior. Then in the second round, I had to present my portfolio. Then they had to ask few questions. After that, I waited long for their reply, but they replied me a very good note. They sent me that. There is a mismatch. There is an expectation mismatch. They were expecting someone with visual skills, and my portfolio demonstrated UX plus interaction designer and a researcher kind of portfolio was being demonstrated with those skills. So that's why that was a mismatch there. Later on, the senior manager who had interviewed me, who said sorry, I didn't tell you before, but it was something else. Then I said okay. Then for the others, the second company, it was a bit challenging for me. The design challenge and all, it didn't go in the direction that I wanted. And in the third company, in the Lollipop where I'm working here, my case study was used as a screening. Then I was given a design challenge, and based on the design challenge, I was interviewed, and that was very good interview. Means I felt it very basic, and ideally, they have 3 to 4 rounds, but for me, only one round happened because they were impressed with my portfolio and the way I presented my design task. So when I joined, I asked people that, do you have only one round? Then they were like, no. Only then why only one round was taken for me? They were like, because we already liked your resume, your case study, your design task, everything was so good that our design manager was sold out. And he was like, let's take her. We don't have to take more rounds.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to ask you some more follow-up questions after this.
Yeah.
I want to quickly jump to Kranthi because I didn't realize he probably needs to head out earlier. So I'm going to jump to Kranthi and come back to you. Is that okay,
Sure.
Anita?
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Anita.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Kranthi. So tell us your experience with interviewing as well as the promotion experience.
Yeah, first, I will start with saying thanks to you, sir, and the community because like that helped me improving my confidence and like obviously everyone at some point of their life they will feel that like some imposter syndrome kind of thing. So, but that will not be the case when you're with the right team or community. So thanks to you. And so my interview experience was like it is kind of surprising I mean with every company. So I had earlier I had experience with one company which is LTI Mindtree where I got to face interview panel for the first time. It's like I am speaking to four people in the very first round of the interview, and the questions were like asking about the research and research planning, but nowhere in the JD they mentioned the requirement for the UX research role. But what happened is it coincided with my I mean like time being part of intensive program, so that's what helped me to answer the questions. So that's one thing. And the current company like where I'm working right now, so they don't have any design team. And the reason why I chose this is like my inclination towards working in a startup and where they don't have any process. So luckily I got interviewed by the current product head, and he has a bit experience like understanding towards the importance of UX. And also and the CEO of the company, he knows like how the product design, like UX design, will play a crucial role in solving the right problems. So, so for like it is a good experience, and also surprising things like one can expect in an interview. Like always, you can witness surprises. So yeah.
So how did the second interview process take place? So the first one, Mindtree, is obviously a fairly big company. So
Yes.
you had a panel, and then what happened after the panel?
So after that, I didn't go ahead with that opportunity
Okay.
because like it is mostly towards one particular work. I mean,
Mm.
it's a kind of monotonous work. even if you get into that role. So that's the
Got it.
reason I didn't go ahead with that. Yeah.
Okay, so that is important. So knowing which job you don't want and kind of cutting it off soon. And we will talk a little bit more about that. But then in the second job interview that you did, what was the process like?
To be frank, there was no process at all, and
Okay.
they gave me interview task, and so I just went with a bunch of questions, like even when they shared that interview task, and they were like, we have very little information for your questions, so this is
Mhm.
what we can give, and go ahead with
Mhm.
all the assumptions you can. So
Okay.
after that, I did the design task and I shared it with them. I was expecting the design review call to happen, but it didn't happen directly. They went ahead with the second round, where it came to the behavioral and cultural match kind of interview. So that's it.
Mhm.
Like, so, but after the second round, I requested the person who is handling the HR part to schedule one more call with the main person, like the product head currently, so that I can talk to him about like what I can bring to the tables, because
Mhm.
nowhere they asked about like what's my process, or like what are the thoughts I put into making that design task. So
Right.
that's the one thing. Yeah.
So it's interesting. You got the offer, but you wanted to continue the interview.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what was the conversation like when you talked to the product head afterwards? What were you looking for? What were you listening for?
So then it was like they what are their expectations versus what are my expectations. Obviously, sir, you mentioned it about the reward, like unless you negotiate for it you won't get it. So
Mhm.
that's what everyone can remember that, like whenever they are approaching any person like for an interview, so you should sell yourself as a product, or else as a business, then only the other person can understand. So otherwise you won't be satisfied with the offer. Yeah.
So essentially, when you were talking to the product head, you were negotiating for the offer. Is that right?
So offer, yeah, yes, sir.
Got it.
So
And
it
then
came
how did
down.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It came to so it came down to the point like we can give you role but not the money, or we
Uh-huh.
can give you the money but not the role. So that kind of conversation, because they hired like not that great designers, like who created some issues within the organization, and their work was not that great. So that's why they were in a sensitive situation, like dilemma, whether we are going risking our themselves for hiring a person from non-UX background, who is very new to this field, and so all those questions they have in their mind. So
Mm-hmm. So finally, what did you choose? The role or the money?
so I told them, if I want to use my skill set and provide value to the business and solve the problems, I should be in that role, like where I can take ownership of the task which I am going to do. So the crafting part, which I've already mastered.
Mhm.
So there is nothing new to learn in that matter. But the
Mhm.
role will give you more insight. Get me near to the business understanding and more towards thinking in terms of business. Yeah.
Interesting. So you didn't actually choose the money.
Yes.
Fascinating. Okay. So then how did the promotion happen?
So immediately after that role, they agreed for that. After that conversation, they agreed for that. They understood like what I was putting in front of them, like in terms of their expectations versus my expectation, and how there will be a change in their organization as well, because earlier they did a mistake with hiring a wrong person, but now it can change. The hope I
Mhm.
created when that conversation happened. Yeah.
Interesting. So this is really important, guys. I tell a lot of people like when you get the choice between money and role or opportunity, don't just jump at the most obvious solution. Think about what is it that you want in the long term. Now, depending on your situation, money might be right or the role might be right. But in Kranti's situation, he did something that was a masterstroke. And again, he did it because he wanted to do it, not because he was playing politics. But for him, the way he thought about it is, listen, if I get the role, I get the responsibility, at some point, they will have no choice but to match my money to the role. Right? Because if I'm delivering. And he also was appreciative of the challenge that the other company was facing because, anytime you're hiring, especially as a startup, you're always worried, am I going to waste a lot of money? It's not just a monthly salary. When you hire someone, you have to, maybe you're paying 3 or 6 months worth of salary before you realize, okay, that person was not a good match. Okay.
Yes.
Then you're going to say, okay, thank you very much, bye-bye. And then you're going to hire somebody else. So the hiring process will take another 2 or 3 months. So essentially, when you hire the wrong person from a company's perspective, it's not just 6 months of salary that's lost. It's about 8 to 9 months of evolution, product evolution time that is lost. So
Yes.
most startups are very scared about that. They don't want to lose 9 months of their life when they don't know if they'll survive in 12 months.
Yes, sir.
So what Kranthi did was he came in and when he spoke about the role, they were automatically like, yeah, this guy knows his game. And whether he wants the money or not is a different game. He is committed to getting the job done. And that was the messaging that you gave, and that's what you created the hope. And that directly impacts the way that they treat you on day one of your job. Right? So how did that change the way they treat you? Because you've done a previous other jobs as well. So in this job, was there anything different in the way they treated you at your work?
Yes, sir. Obviously. So, you spoke about ownership and the same point, like, and every day you need to take initiative, and you should be like you should take a autonomy and while driving it or making progress in every milestone, and also accountability is something. So that is new for me, and like even they won't be so the scenario will change. Like earlier, working in a design agency, there will be a scope of work, you need to meet this deadlines. That was the case, but now it is different. Like you need to decide what task you will be working on and how to prioritize it, and what value will bring it to the business currently. So whether it can be part of a new product which we are building it, or else something which can help a new existing product. So yes.
So you felt there was a lot more autonomy in your role, is that right?
Yes, sir. And also visibility, like even if you are doing something, you are directly visible to the CEO always. So that was not happening in my previous job. So yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Cool, Kranti. So if you guys have any questions for Kranti, just type it in and keep it. I know Kranti will have to head out, but if there's any follow-up questions and he's around, we'll definitely ask him those questions, or we can ask him in the next session as well.
Yes, sir.
Kranti, how much time do you have?
So 3 more minutes, like I can.
Okay, cool. All right. So if you have any questions, just type it in or just raise your hand. We'll ask you, and then probably one question for Kranti, and then we can go on to Anita. All right. I guess everybody was fairly clear, no questions. But again, the thing is, feel free to ask any question. My question was, well, what kind of task did you get?
Uh, as part of design task,
Yeah. What was the design task you got?
they just shared me some screenshot which they do as part of their consulting business, a
Okay.
dashboard.
Okay.
And that's the first time I'm looking at a marketing related dashboard actually.
Okay.
So they asked me to redesign it. That's it. Just
Okay.
one screenshot.
Okay.
So they asked me to
And
two UI options. That's it. So yeah.
oh, so they ask you to give two options and then just redesign it.
Yeah.
Okay. And they didn't ask you any follow-up questions. So what conversation did you have about it with the product head afterwards?
I went to the first principles, like what it is actually, the dashboard,
Mhm,
and for like who will be the end users for this dashboard,
mhm,
and what are the business level decisions will be taken from this dashboard. Like any anomalies can communicate some kind of decision making process. So all those questions, I went with those questions, and also a few abbreviations like what they are given in dashboard. Yeah.
Got it. And when you completed the task, they asked you for 2 screens. So what did you send them? Did you just send them the 2 screens and leave it at that, or what exactly did you give back to them?
No, sir. Like I did the audit of the screen, like based off on the answers I have received from them, and I documented the issues, and also I went in a process like structural manner. I framed the problem statement, and I set 2 design metrics. One is like reducing cognitive load, and basically is reducing cognitive load, because there
Okay,
are multiple data points and no way that user can figure out, okay, this metric is not working out well and I need to make some decision on it.
got
So
it.
I went through the process of like breaking down those problems on interaction level, and also content level and visual level.
Got it.
So that's how I approached, and obviously I gave them the 2 options, but there was a process to it,
Okay,
approaching
so
them.
you communicated the process as well as the 2 options.
2 options and how I achieved like solved that problem statement, like by designing these 2 screens.
Got it. Got it. Cool. So thank you very much, Kranti. So this is valuable, and good job done, and congratulations for your new role.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, before I drop out like from this call, I want to share one main point like which I received from my senior, like who is 4 years senior to me. Currently, is working on birthday. So whenever someone is looking to join a new company or like deciding between the offers, so this will help everyone. Actually, I think actually he mentioned 3 points you need to look for in that organization. One is growth, not just your role or something, skill and knowledge, and your thinking horizon as well. So it can be domain level or it can be business level. Also environment where you can, whether you will get mentorship or that kind of team where you can be yourself and excel. And the third part is obvious thing, reward. One is money and opportunity and also network. So these are the 3 points where you can like put them as a lens when you are comparing between 2 offers, 2 or more offers. Yeah. That's.
Awesome. Thanks, Kranti.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. So let's have Anita. So Anita, tell us what your process looked like.
So my process for applying jobs or for the interview or for the
For
design
the
challenge.
interview. So the interview at Lollipop, how did that, not the interview, but the whole job application process, Lollipop, how did that look like?
The whole job application. So yeah, job application is one day, but my preparation was going on in my mind. So it
Hmm.
happened in 3 steps. First one, I worked on a great project in my previous organization that was an exposure to practical learning. Second was my participation into in-depth learning of intensive course from the college, where I got an opportunity to work on assignments, discuss and communicate in design terminologies. So that also boosted my confidence that yes, I'm taking right decisions. I'm talking in a proper manner when I'm delivering my designs. Third one was like funneling down these two, practical learning and the design terminology, into a very good, amazing portfolio, which gives me confidence. So that portfolio is not just presentation of your own work, but it also showcases your skill, what you're capable of. So that was the point where I gave a lot of emphasis. Like I funneled down both the learnings from both the ends into my portfolio so that I can share it across jobs, across companies, and so that I can get calls. So that was my preparation before the D-Day where you get the interview call.
So
And
how long did you prepare? I'm just curious. How long was your preparation?
I think in my mind, it started from September itself. So from September, I started, I think, like starting with, collating my own project, then also continuing with my course and mixing both of them, the learning from the course and from my practical project. So from September, it took, in December, I presented my case study into the college live YouTube session. There also, I got a lot of feedback and confidence that how can I present my work. So that was also a great thing. In November, I presented. So December, January, also I again refined it into a pitch deck, and so that it shows that yes, the person knows UX and decision making. So from February, I started applying, and March I got job. So yeah, it's a long process.
Okay, so I mean, this is great, right? So I mean, what is interesting is you're not alone. I was reading this blog by this guy who's a director of engineering at Google. And he said, I'm just going to apply without preparing. I'm going to apply to 10 jobs and I'm going to see what's going to happen. Turns out he was rejected on all of those jobs. And then he said, okay, I'm going to prepare my question and I'm going to prepare for my interview and then I'm going to apply. So just because he was at Google, he was getting all the interviews, but he was bombing on all the interviews. He said, now I'm going to prepare for my interviews. He prepared for the interviews and then he went back in and then he basically got all the offers. So the point he was trying to make was, doesn't matter how senior you are, you know, if you prepare, that's when you get the job. You don't prepare, you don't get the offers.
Yeah.
So what you did, most people think my job is done when I create my portfolio, but there's a lot of process that
Yeah.
happens. So tell me about your journey, right? So what is the main learning as you were preparing for February? What was the main learning that you had as, that you would probably advise yourself if you were to start all over again?
Okay, so what was my main learning was see, and we all have that imposter syndrome plus a procrastination to not to work on your own portfolio. We work for our client, but we forget to work on ourselves, on our own case study. So it took a lot of time and effort to understand and collate and crystallize it into a case study, for which you and Bhaskar played an important role to mentor me, and because of that mentorship, I got such amazing portfolio for which I'm proud of. Whenever I share with anyone, everyone would be like, "Can you share me the copy? Can you share me the copy?" But even if you take the copy, you won't learn the mindset with which I have made it. So in the process of making that portfolio, I learned how to pitch, how to talk, or how to prepare each and every step so that you can take the conversation in your hand. And preparation is not just like making your case study, just like the design step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like that. You have to make sense that what problems you solved, what was the main problems, what is the outcome, and what was the process. It has to be very crystal clear and to the point, with a story, with answers of all the questions, for which I was completely new to this, and it was all because of the course, you and Bhaskar, that I was exposed, and I was very confident when I was referred to Lollipop that I would get through because I've done my part. So that was, and if I advise myself, the greatest learning is prepare everything. Even you mentioned that I had stressful time. It was only because I was not planned that how I'm going to transition. My all focus was in the learning part, but in the execution part, my focus was not there. Execution in every sense, that how you are going to transition from this company to another company, what is the time span, and what are you looking for? Clarity for that also, that whether you're looking for knowledge or you're looking for money. So if you're looking for money, then wait, take your time, do your hunting. You should have started, means I started from September to January. That was only for learning. I never applied to any company in this time period. So I didn't know that what is the market value or what is going in the market. So that is one thing, that what you really wanted, because my focus was always on learning, and I didn't realize the practical aspect of it. So that is one thing, that plan everything. But that is number one. Second is, what do you want? That clarity in yourself. And third thing is practice as much as possible. And practice not just the case study, but also each and every answers, your introductions, your UX answers, your terminologies, for each and every level that you can. These are the three major learning. Another challenge that I can say is, as I got job in very short time, means my application part was very less. because most of the job roles were of mixed responsibility. It was clearly mentioned UX job in LinkedIn, but if you read the description, strong graphic design and strong visual skills, for which I was not prepared. And most of the jobs, they expect you to know all the things. Like for product designer, obviously you should know the three things: the research, the UX skills, the interaction, plus the visuals. These three things you should know. But even for the UX roles, which are mentioned in the company job description that it's UX, but still they expect. So it's better that you get a hands-on on this design system visual so that you are confident. Even I have basic knowledge of it. It's just that I didn't get opportunity and I thought that I'll get with my skill. Many of the time upfront, I said that I don't have much knowledge, but you should not say such that you don't have, even though you have, we always have the habit of underestimating ourselves. So always prepare. And job is not just the next year when you're applying. It starts with the day one, and your learning should continue, and learn as much as possible. That UX is in the between. UX is with the business, UX is with the UI. So you have to learn both of them so that you are confident and you don't miss out job opportunities if you don't know one of the finer skill. So
Awesome. That is a really great point. So, I think you need to be aware of how everything is connected. And I think I'm
yeah.
so glad you mentioned that. So, one question that came was, are you with the Bangalore team? And I believe that is the answer. Yes, you are with Bangalore, right?
Yes,
Awesome. Thank you, Anita. Thank you very
yeah.
much. And if there are any follow-on questions, please put them in here so that once we get done with Achyuth and Tanya, then we can come back. Thank you, Anita, and congratulations again.
Welcome.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
everyone.
All right, Achyuth. So, tell us your story. So, how did this play out?
So, so good evening to everyone. So I'm working at a startup called DevForce, and we are a design studio where we are completely focused on B2B SaaS applications. So before I go into how it all went and everything, I should definitely thank you, community, all the mentors and everybody, because without it, it wouldn't have been possible, which I would share going ahead. So it so happened that I joined college, like I guess it's an year now that I joined, and then immediately I get to know that there is a program called Portfolio Builder Series. And the reason for me to join college was because I had the brunt of going to a boot camp previously. And then I had a case study. It's still there. I wanted to be there for a reason. Uh, for my own reflection that how stupid it was. So, but then it had a lengthy thing, information architecture, the design thinking process, every jargon that is spoken in the design industry, it had everything. Not one company was accepting my request. Like, I mean my application. No, this thing as well. But then later, as I said, after joining college, Portfolio Builder series, uh, I guess 2.5 to 3 weeks into the program, so we kind of completed this concept where we started from form design and slowly moved into the topics like variabilization and visual design basics and tool strategies, not tool as such. What I loved is strategy with the tool. Simple things like naming convention, very, very like supposed to be basics. And then I get a call from this organization, and I said by that point of time, this portfolio builder series, I only had one thing in my portfolio, not a portfolio also. It's like we made paper wireframes. As per the program guidelines, we were not supposed to do anything digital. So it was just drawn on paper. And I had pictures taken it through my mobile camera. So and then I gave it a shot for the interview. I discussed with them that this is what I'm doing right now. I told them that I joined a boot camp and right now I'm doing this so and so program. And then my founder was directly interviewing me. And then I shared those screenshots. It's a bank savings account opening this thing. So I just walked him through why I have done what I have done. And frankly speaking, sir, I had the expectation that I wouldn't get past through this also. At least I was happy that a call has been connected for an interview. So I was fine, but then to my surprise, in 1 hour, I get a call that we would like to roll out the offer for you. That was super surprising for me, like the fastest, like in my experience. Like, so I was curious and I was happy, everything, a lot of mixed feelings. And then I went to the organization, and in my interview also, there is no design task. They were fine with my paper sketch images that I forwarded to them on mail. And they asked me about my future aspirations, where I clearly told them that if not for this job also, because at that point of time, Portfolio Builder Series program, the way it was order, I said that, okay, these 3 months you can expect these things from me. The next 3 months you can expect this. There was a very clear expectation set as to what I can do, what I cannot do. At this point of time, if you ask me to create visuals which are astoundingly beautiful, I can't do it, but definitely I can start using existing design systems and decent enough products I can design. So there was a very clear picture that I have set as to what I can do and what I can't do. And then that's how the offer was finalized.
So that's funny, Achyuth, because when we interview, and this is something that all of us face, and I want to get your perspective on it. When we interview, we go in with the mindset that I want to get the job. I will tell you whatever you want to hear, you know.
Yeah.
But what you did was you were brutally honest. This is what I can do. This is what you should expect for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. This is exactly what it is. Weren't you afraid that you won't get a job, or like, you've been trying? You mentioned that earlier you were part of this, you had applied, you didn't even get an interview. Weren't you
Mm.
afraid that if you're so honest that you won't get another offer for a long time?
That's
Uh,
Achyuth.
Sir, there, frankly speaking, wasn't there a fear? Yes, there was somewhere, but I didn't want that fear to dominate, because there was one major thing that has happened post from my boot camp to the transition that happened with college, sir. When I completed boot camp, you ask me any terminology like what is information architecture, like right now how ChatGPT is doing, I could say it, but I don't know what else. It's like I've read the index of an entire 500-page book, but beyond that, I didn't know anything. But with the very little few topics that I did in Portfolio Builder series, sir, I felt confident for the first time that I got a certain way of thinking about a problem. And that's when I actually thought that even if I don't get a job for the next 1 year of the program, this thing, I'm going to give my every hour of the day for this one. So that's what made me like and I didn't want to like set over expectations with what I don't know, sir. That I wanted to do it, like, yeah.
So in your case, you weren't necessarily worried. If you don't get a job, also you were okay. That's how you were in your mindset. It's like
Yes,
if
sir,
I don't get a
because
job, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to say it as it is. Is that what it is?
yeah, because of what I was being offered, sir, in terms of Portfolio Builder series program. It
Got it.
was the confidence in the program content and my mentors, and of course, I cannot go without mentioning the peers that I had with me. I remember sitting with them 3 o'clock in the midnight and still discussing a lot of things. So that was like I was being productive, and I was sure, sir, somewhere something was telling me that like you just do this, things will be fine.
Okay, so it was the confidence. So you were more confident about yourself.
Clarity, sir. I would say more clarity, actually.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And so then tell us about your promotion. And this is the last question before we go on to Tanya.
Yes,
And
sir.
but if you have any questions for Achyut and anybody, just put them in. And what is interesting, Achyut, you didn't even get a task. Is that how they normally recruit people without a task?
No, sir, because interestingly, thankfully, I was also part of a interview process where 80% of the interview was conducted by me, and it's just a week's time that it has happened. That's
Okay,
not so. There was a task. There
got
was a
it.
task, but it was not so for me.
Got it.
So right. Yeah, sir. And talking about the promotion thing, sir, I wanted to put it very clear that the promotion is not in terms of a title, because we are a company with a size where titles don't really affect so much. But in terms of responsibilities, I would talk promotion. So what happened was, initially when I got hired, as per the norm, they decided it would be a 3-month internship. And within joining of the 1 week, where my boss was able to figure out that, okay, this guy is capable of so and so, so and so, so and so. Within 1 week, I went into a live project. Like, I've done everything end to end by myself. So that was one thing. And 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, I started sitting with the clients. This was one of the fundamental mindset shifts that happened to me, where I was not one more that designer who was complaining why tight timelines, why can't people listen to us, and not having that authoritarian ego within that, okay, I'm a UX designer, we drive business, you don't know this thing and everything. That cleared out for me, because when I sat with the clients, I actually understood that why certain things are happening in a certain way, which set a very positive atmosphere in the this thing, sir. And post that, it was in and out talking to clients. It's very tricky because you can't talk design jargon. I learned how to put things very simply. Empathy is not just in designing; it is at every point, at every touch point with every other team. You're especially with clients. And people talk about users not knowing what they are saying, but it's the same with clients also, so they have a different way of saying, because they're coming from business point of view. So to figure out what they are actually saying, that was one thing. So I was into this. And as it was going by, sir, I was attending Friday events, timeline management and everything. I had the beautiful opportunity to go back and immediately implement that. Thanks to my boss also, sir. He was giving me and he always gives me that space to, do it. And I figured out that in this organization, my growth was directly proportional to the uh, length of responsibility that I can take up on myself. So then I started taking up, I sat down with my boss and I asked, how is it happening? Or what is our process? Can we do better here? This is how we can do, maybe. And also, and I got started, I was started to be part of the process optimization, this thing also. How we can reduce this thing? How can we increase our quality of the deliverable? So within 1 month, I got into a full-time role, sir, actually, which was supposed to happen post 3 months. Now, after that, the fourth month is significant for me, because there were two other designers who were working 8 months before I joined. But then things like maintaining a certain style guide or a design system, if we have to call that, accelerating features which will reduce time consumed for design tasks. These were lacking, and where I had to start training them. And unfortunately, we couldn't hold them, right? But the interview process started. That's when I actually got promoted, where I was more into managing the projects also, like
So in 4 months, you got promoted to managing the process.
yes, where like I would get key inputs from my boss, and I get to figure it out and send it to him. We both sit together. Iterations do happen, sir. The beauty is that he says, do mistakes how many ever possible. It's okay. So that
Got it.
fear is taken away that I can go wrong. So that was
Got it.
4 months, and I'm involved into every touch point that is related to project, from acquisition to then handoff and everything. Quality assurance, ensuring that
Got it.
the quality assurance is happening with my other mates also. And finally, I don't know if it is a promotion, sir, but right now I am also interviewing and training my intern. Like, literally, I am doing everything with my intern right now, which is another major mindset shift, sir. Working by yourself is one thing, getting to know the other designer, and when you're assigning a task to them, getting to know from where they are, it's a different ball game altogether, sir. Yes.
Awesome. Now, this is a fascinating story, and I think we could probably talk a lot more about it. But I know Tanya is waiting, and we have a question from Cody on YouTube, and it's probably applicable to everyone, which is, this person is just learning UI, UX, and they need to find a company to start their career. So what kind of company should they approach? Should it be freelance or full-time? And this is for all the people that have started their career And we will get to this question towards the end, Cody, if you're listening in. But I've taken note, and we'll get back and we'll make sure it's answered. So thank you very much, Achyuth. Think about your answer, and then we can get back. But
Sure, sir.
congratulations on your role and your
Thank you, sir.
promotion.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, sir.
So go ahead, Tanya. So tell us your story. So how did things work out for you? Because you have a formal degree in design.
Yeah. So I first like to introduce myself. I'm Tanya Srivastava, and I've been part of college community from like 2.5 years now. And I have recently graduated in communication design from Banasthali, and now I'm working as Lemon Yellow as UI UX designer full time. And so I say, if I look back at my journey, in January when I left my college and I became part of the portfolio builder series. So what I wanted, I'm exactly at that place today. I wanted to start my journey with a design studio kind of place where I have that artistic creative background as well, and I learned that how to think part and the problem solving part at college. So I wanted to be, parallelly taking both of the things together. So I would say I'm pretty satisfied where I am. And if I say I started applying for jobs in September, 15 September, and by the end of, and I appeared in 5 interviews, and by the end of December, I had 3 offers in my hand. And so I,
So you had three offers. Three offers?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I had
So your
offers.
audio is breaking up a little bit, so I'm trying to clarify.
Uh, I'll try to be more clear. So I had 3 job offers by the end of December, which chosen for once I took I'm yellow. So if I see interview process and overall how
Hey, Tanya, I just
hello.
cut down your video to see if your audio will come through, but I think there's still some noise and it's not coming through properly. Um, do you want to
Hello.
reconnect and see?
Am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I'll try this. So when I interviewed, if I tell you my experience of all the interviews, majorly whenever they asked me to present my portfolio, the capstone project that I did in Portfolio Builder series, it was the one which I was very confident with. Means if somebody wakes me up and say explain your work at 2 a.m. in the morning, I would be ready to do that because everything was so well thought when I did everything. I had, my peers, my mentors, that guided me through it. So I corrected it, and it was not guiding in the way this that you change this. It was they helped me to think about it, and then last decision was mine only. That how I want to fix that design issue, a design problem. So it was so well thought that I was very confident about that portfolio, that projects of mine. So whenever I interviewed and I explained my portfolio, so almost everybody was impressed by it, and I was feeling confident. And to prove, it was not just a portfolio and design, but it was also the communication and documentation. Because when I documented it and showed in my portfolio, they kind of had more credibility. They trusted what I was saying, and it was not that I was hearing somebody's opinion and then orating. No, they can see everything through it. That okay, I have put down everything, every aspect of it, how I studied and how what was my process. So that was a plus one for me. And nextly, what I would say in my questions, in my interview questions, when they went through my files and they see documentation and all that, they were pretty happy about it. So if I tell you my today's experience, like I was on my onboarding day 7 part today. So when they said that okay, our company works like this, and this is how we document our Sigma file, And they asked me, "Do you know this? Do you know this?" It was exactly what I was doing already. Everything was in sync to that. And they were so glad and they were like, "You came prepared already." And I was very happy to listen that okay, in industry they are already following their standards and I just need to onboard on my projects. So that was
Got
a
it.
wonderful feeling. And lastly, the things, there were some points, yeah, pointers they asked me to explain more, or that some rationale that I haven't think about it. So I took ownership there that this is something I couldn't figure out or I haven't thought about it. So for that also I was appreciated that you have taken that ownership and accountability of it and you want to improve it. So that was again a plus one for me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tanya. I think this was super valuable. And I think the one common thread that I hear from everyone is confidence, right? And I mean, congratulations to you, Tanya, because I also know that you kind of got this opportunity. You don't have to do a design task again. It was a very similar to Achyuth. You went in, you presented, you got the offer when you came out, and there were no other questions on to add. But that was awesome, and I would like to congratulate. But one of the things that I want you to understand is when you're confident and you're approaching the interview process or the application process, the odds turn in your favor. Right? If you're not confident, the other person can see that and they're trying to figure out, okay, why is this person not confident? Right? And so the one way that they get confident is they understand how to do the job done, right? So competence brings confidence. And when you're confident, the other person sees it and they respect it. Right? They will ask you questions, but because you already know what kind of questions can be asked, you're already familiar with it, you're getting it done. So I think that is really valuable. Now, the question, coming back to the question that Cody's asked online, which is for people who are just starting off, how do you recommend they get into the career, right? And how do you recommend that do they start freelancing? Do they go full time? So what are your thoughts? Now, I have an opinion, but I do want to ask all of you because most of you have transitioned this job more recently than I have. It's been almost 25 years since I've done that. But for you guys, it's probably been, last 4 or 5 years. So I would love to hear your thoughts. How do you start your career? What are the tips to getting into the role? Anybody? Go ahead, Achut.
Sir, what I feel from my experience until now, I would say that in the initial stage, not to worry about whether it is a UX specialized role or a UI specialized role, or even for that matter, freelance or a standard role at a company. I would say just grab the opportunity, whatever it is, because there is a whole lot of learning what happens when you actually start working real time. Uh, in case studies, we still might have assumed problem statements, but the kind of problem statements that we get live are totally different, to a point where it doesn't come like this is a problem statement. Like Kranti was telling, you got to figure out what is the problem. That's what I feel at that. And one more suggestion, just one more suggestion, sir. Like if the situation is not that you have to fend for your finances and everything, I would say for the first 2 years, not to worry about money, just grab the opportunity and shoulder yourself upon with as much responsibility as you can, but ensuring that you take it up to the extent you can deliver. That's one important thing that I wanted to say. That's it, sir.
Thanks, Achut. Go ahead, Anita.
Yeah, same. I completely agree with Achyuth that grab whatever opportunity you are getting, whether it's freelancing or it's internship, and both together also you can do full time and freelance. Do everything that you can do to expose yourself to learn to communicate, learn to solve problem, learn to document. And if you have time, then join a course also where you can learn from peers and discuss from seniors who are already working in that field from last 5 years, 10 years. So learn from their expertise as well. So do as much learning as possible, whatever you get. So many of the times it happens when you join a company, the work is not very intensive and the work is not giving you enough exposure. In that case, course really plays an important role to expose yourself with problem discussions and all, and documentation. Every skill, each and every skill is very important. So keep on learning and grab whatever opportunity you get.
And I think my feedback would probably be very similar to what you both have said. It is, if you're starting off, go with whatever is going to get you the exposure. Right? But in addition, I think Anita has also added some more points, which is mentorship. Right? Go find mentorship. Go find people who can guide you. In addition to what Anita has also said, I would also go one step further, which is go find peers, go find communities of peers who can challenge you. So again, there are a lot of UX communities all over the place. What I want you to think about is, there are UX communities that help you network. So you build connections with people. So you can always pick up the phone and say, hey, do you have a job in your company? That's a great place to be. And there's also UX communities that focus on learning. Right?
Yeah.
So learning is a lot deeper, where you're learning the skills. So you're all students together and learning. So you need to understand the difference between both of these two communities. Right? The learning community focuses on knowledge, whereas the networking community is not focused on your specific skill, but rather focused on who do you know, and maybe it can open some doors for you. Right? So you need to be part of both of those types of communities, because both of them help you move forward. And the other aspect that I would also say is, don't be shy about reaching out to people and asking for help. And one other thing that pretty much everybody talked about was presentation. Right? Everybody was confident because they had to present multiple times. So Tanya had to present multiple times, Achyuth had to present multiple times, Anita presented multiple times. So when you present multiple times, you know your topic really, really well. So that means you're confident when you step into an interview process. Right? And when you're confident, the situation, the questions that follow automatically change, the way you handle those questions change. So my advice would be is practice. Practice. Don't just look at their portfolio and leave it at that. Practice what you're going to do with that portfolio. Practice what questions could be asked of you, and then how do you respond back. I mean, when I was starting my interviewing, my career path, I was lucky that I had career services at my university. They sat me down and gave me a list of, I think, about 20 different questions that people would ask. Okay. And what I did was I added another 20 questions that any company would ask. And I literally practiced, went through all of those 40 questions. And then I kind of was very prepared when I went into any job interview. Okay. So again, I think this is really good. Tanya, you have something to add?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, like you said, having communities, so I would like to share my experience. Like I'm starting right now, and I have already been part of college for 2.5 years, and I feel so privileged to be here that I am, one to one talking to the team leads of the people who are handling much bigger projects and the big companies, and from people who are, are at all levels of their career. So I feel so connected and privileged that at this early stage, and when I see my long-term goals and careers, I get to learn from them. When different members of our community present their portfolios on freelance Fridays or share their experience that this situation came to them and they solved in this way. This kind of projects were there and they handled this way, whether it's management or whether it's design decision. So I feel, I'm preparing myself for the longer duration because I learned from their experience. So it is very helpful for me that when I come and also get aware of the industry that, okay, this is the common problem and it is not only that I would be feeling, it happens to everybody and I should be prepared that it will happen in future. So I think that plays a very important role for me.
Nice. So what you mentioned was the fact that you had mentors that have been there, done it. They were already coaching you for what would be possible. They were preparing you. So you were kind of in some ways speeding up your learning journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. Go ahead, Achyuth. This would be the last comment, and then we can go on to close this.
So just
Go ahead.
wanted to speak one thing about the importance of being in the community, and I would wanted to highlight that for me, the right kind of community where you are able to get feedback. Just to give an example, in this community, uh, there have been people with whom I interacted through Portfolio Builder series and even Friday event sessions also. They were able to come to me and give me a feedback that, Achut, you talk long. I wanted to say this specifically because I get out of it. Why is it so important? Is because this is the kind of feedback which is not really comfortable for people to give also on a human level. But when people tell it, and I'm getting feedback these days that I have made a significant progress, uh, and I can also ask what I want without fear. That feels like a safe haven. Like to a point where I'm expressing this today in a YouTube live event, it's only because of community. And today, part of the celebration, I wanted to really give a shout out to the community because they have been a pivotal role in my success. So yeah, that's what I wanted to put in.
Thank you, Achyuth. And I think that is a fundamental difference between networking communities and learning communities. In networking communities, you don't want to be rude to someone. If you were in a networking community and you went to someone and said, "Hey, dude, you speak long," the other person, you don't know, they might be insulted. So you have potentially lost a network. You've lost someone that could help you with doing something. So you're always worried about what the other person is thinking about. Whereas in a learning community, everybody realizes that whether you have 5 years of experience or 10 years of experience, 1 year of experience, everybody is there for the pure purpose of learning. So even if somebody gives you a negative feedback, you know I'm learning and I'm able to move forward. And I think that's a difference in the way that people approach a learning community versus a networking community. And I would encourage people that, and again, I'm not saying that networking communities are not good. They're equally important in your career. But you need to have a place, a safe place where you can learn and talk and where you don't take things personally. And I think that's a very important part of your growing and your learning. So thank you very much for that feedback, Achyut. So with that, I'm gonna, also talk about one additional thing. So, Hoy, if you can share your screen, I want to talk about this one thing. Now, this is the exciting stuff for next year. Is what we are doing is we are going into Udemy and putting a course. Again, everything that we've learned in the Portfolio Builder series and the intensive, and we have basically consolidating all of that into a place where people can go and learn. And this is, we're putting the first course is going to go live soon, where we are going to talk about how to plan your career. Okay. Now, I'm looking for beta testers. So people that want to join in and test it and give us feedback and tell us what is working in the course and what is not working. So if you're interested, please get onto this link and click on the register yourself and sign up as a beta tester so that you can give us feedback. And this would help us make sure that the program is good and worthwhile for all the other designers that are going to come after you. So if you could provide the link, that would be great. So is there a link, Rajiv?
The link would be available from 29th of December, and it will be updated in all our college official LinkedIn page, as well as we will put the link in the description of this video as well.
Of the YouTube video. Awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. And then we can stop sharing. And so thank you very much, guys. So this has been awesome. And I think, if we can go into the gallery view so everybody can see each other. So, I want this, and I know a lot of members, it's almost literally like almost about 300 or 400 people watch this on YouTube over time. So I know that what you have shared is super valuable for everyone. Right. And congratulations, and then have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, sir.